And the last but not least is our extrusion machine. We've been having problems getting this one to work very well, but the premise behind this machine is that you would feed in the same raw material, this same recycled plastic, the shredded plastic, sorry. You would feed this in over here, you would put this down, and just like the injection machine, over here, although it is insulated, you have heating elements. And the basic idea is that you'd have this motor running and attached to a belt. Right now it's currently under maintenance because there was issues with the timing belt, but you would put the belt over there, and once you run your motor, it would extrude out the plastic. The good thing about this is that we've also been trying to make this handheld, using it without any electricity. And so I don't know if the rig is set up for now. No, it's not. But the premise is that if you could attach a handle over here, and at the same time, so you don't need a motor, that is, and you can bypass that. And for a lot of rural communities without electricity, it would be ideal if such a system were in place. And the end result of this is something similar to this. So, as you can see, we haven't really perfected the process. It has a lot of defaults, but this is what comes out. So it takes out, just like filaments, this is what's extruding out of the machine, and all you're doing really is rotating it around a bottle or any other sort of shape that you want, that you can make out of whatever, and yeah, and you get out your plastic all fused together. So this is something that we're still currently developing, but the concept around this is that we're thinking of making handles, making containers, making fruit baskets, and we're working with a local community that is ingenious with coming up with ideas, and they have tons of ideas of what to make with this as well.
You have to give it time to melt so that it screws out. You know, you have to wait it to melt. Then as it melts, it comes out here. As it comes, then you keep on rolling it. Because you need to give it like 10 minutes or 15 minutes so that you have given it enough time to the heaters to heat the products so that it can melt. You cannot come, I want to work and expect to start working at it. Like right now, you can see the pool cannot rotate, which means it's already stuck. If you want it to start rotating, you're supposed to heat it for 10 to 15 minutes, then it starts melting, as then you switch it on to start rotating the motor as you make your final product.
So the awesome idea behind all of this is if we can work with a local community and people who, mostly a lot of youth who are lacking employment, because the jobs pertain here produce beautiful products, but is very tedious in process. It takes time, it's time consuming, and there are a lot of things yet to be streamlined to be made more efficient, which is what we as students, as designers, are currently trying to do. Is how could you set this up with a motor? How could you set this up with something handheld? How could you make it fit in a context without electricity? How could you make it fit in a context without someone strong to be able to use their hands for the injection machine? So these are all the different challenges. Another challenge with working with plastic is, as I mentioned, different plastics have different melting temperatures, and the problem is you can never guarantee the purity of a plastic. On most of these plastics that have been written, their label over here, as we mentioned previously, it's much easier. But in a dump, you wouldn't really find plastic all nice, well, and organized. You'd find it in little bits of pieces all around the place. And so what we've been trying is to come up with different methods of segregating and sorting the plastic such that we know what plastic is actually going into the machines. One is not to jam, but second is overall to improve the integrity of the product. Some of these products, for example, this floor over here, we have started the process of wanting to tile it with the hexagonal pieces that we have. And you want a tile to be strong, to have high compressive strength, to be able to be stepped on, to be able to handle the weight of the one who is stepping on it. And the integrity of this is only guaranteed by the purity of the plastic that we have. So that also comes within the different problems is also cleaning the plastic. Cleaning it, as of now, we've just been putting it in a tub of water and literally cleaning it by hand. So if there's a better way to do that, that's the innovation and thinking that we as students are coming up with. As we're looking at different ways of making it for a Kenyan context, a student called Ollie Rudd, well, he did something very ingenious. He thought, what if you take a charcoal oven and set it up with the same kind of system with a jack, and that's exactly what you see is put here. So he's put up the same jack over here, and that's the plate that goes up and down, but then you don't need no electricity anymore. You can just use charcoal. We use charcoal briquettes, which are more eco-friendly, and yeah, and that means that you can be used in any context without even electricity, which is awesome. So I just wanted to show you. So this is the tiling project that we've been trying to come up with over here. Sorry if I get this out of the way. And And these pieces, as you can see, if you put cement and grout underneath, just like normal tiles, you can put them together. But the advantages of this is that it's waterproof. Second of all is that, it handles the weight. You can step on it, you can do anything, and it won't be breaking. Another thing is a lot of people appreciate the aesthetic behind it, the different collage of colors, and you can always play around with that and make it as beautiful as you want. Over here we have a sample of the end results of what those machines can do. So the different processes are actually very similar to the same processes that are done in a commercial setting. So what big companies do when they're making chairs and that sort of thing is what we're trying to mimic when we're making our products. So for the time being, I mentioned the extruder machine, so we're thinking if you make this large enough, you can make fruit bowls. And at the same time, we've also been looking at more functional, leveraging the properties of plastic. Plastic, we know, is heat resistant, right? And these plastic, for example, are coasters, and what we can do with that is, I mean, it's just like any other coaster. You can put your hot drink in your hot glass and it wouldn't stain the table or in the plastic at the same time. We've also been looking at more an aesthetic approach, and that's looking at things like fridge magnets. So this is Africa. We've been looking at love hearts, and also modeling some of the different animals and wildlife we have in our beautiful ecosystem here in Kenya, like a rhino, buffalo, and a lion as well. So we mentioned the tiles. These are the different hexagonal pieces that can be set up, joined together. We're also looking at making these bigger so they can be more functional in larger use cases. We've been looking at cups, but this would be used mainly for holding stationery. Another thing a lot of people have been trying to do with recycled plastic is turning it back into becoming certified to be used for food industry. But that's a very hard thing to do because you never know where your plastic is coming from. It has different impurities, different chemicals, and you never know. Also smaller stuff for things like necklaces and pendants and bracelets we've been looking at. This is a love heart and different other designs, dolphin, Africa, and all that over there. We've also been looking at bowls over here. So the bowls that we've been using so far is normally for putting plants within, and it's working really well at the same time. So this is using the compression machine, and it's actually the same two molds that you saw previously. The next thing we've been thinking is also beach rackets and paddles. So for playing in the beach or for playing anywhere else. So imagine a sport that is very ethical in terms that it's using recycled plastic, right? And we've also been looking at, this is made actually from flip-flop material, so it's recycled flip-flops. We take the flip-flops, we join them together using glue, and we sand them down, and you can get some balls as well for that sport. The next thing we've also been doing is some clocks. The clocks over here are using the same tile mold that we have over here, but now have been retrofitted with just outsourced clock mechanisms, and they can stand as well. We've also been thinking if you had bigger clocks as well, and how that would look like. Another initiative that we've been doing, as I mentioned previously, was a seed ball project, and for that, the seed balls themselves are balls made of normally char dust, covered with char dust, coated with char dust, so that once you throw them in the wildlife, they don't get eaten by rodents and pesticides, and they can still grow. And so the way of dispersing them for now was slingshots, right? And so we've been making recycled plastic slingshots. The padding itself is made out of flip-flop material. This is made out of leather. It's also good for employment because there are people who are making this already with wood, and we were thinking, well, you can give them at the same time with this as well. And that's another thing that we've noticed, is that this plastic acts just like any other raw material, just like wood. And it can go through the same wood shaving processes, such as lathing, such as milling, wood routing on the drills, and all that sort of thing. There's another thing, the same tile mold, and we were thinking, what if you join them together and you can make either a table stand, this is for a tabletop, right, or a serving tray at the same time. It's framed with wood, but we're looking at possibilities of adjusting that to be made out of plastic at the same time. And this is a very fun project because this came from a teacher named Mr. McCrory. He's our physics teacher actually, and he thought, why can't you make skateboards, right? And the first worry was that skateboards perhaps the plastic wouldn't be strong enough to handle the human weight. But actually we looked at it, and once we built it, we did some few tests with a few kids, volunteers, and it worked perfectly, quite well. For extra reinforcement, we added some beams of metal over here so it become a bit more, but it's just things that you can find in here. It's just little struts of metal that have been added in to make it stronger. But it's a beautiful thing because really the plastic can be made into anything that you would wish to make. And this is the same exact thing, and a few coasters, and that's what we have so far. So as you can see, with this variety, a myriad of products, it's almost looking like a startup. And in fact, we weren't originally intending it to go that way, where all the students and all the teachers who are here and working on this project initially were from an engineering background, people who are studying design technology, people who are studying physics and science related courses. But now it's become something new because there's so many intricacies of business that we had previously never considered. And looking at the reception at the school only, the different parents, the community, the teachers, the support from administration, all of them, it almost looks like is something just waiting to launch, right? And so we thought, ideally, if that could be possible outside, where people have the real need for employment, the real need for social enterprises like these, which in addition to cleaning up the environment is also giving them a sustainable income. And that's why all of this is really just a proof of concept. It's nothing for us to make money off, really. It's rather to come up with the data that's needed, to come up with a business plan and a strategy that's needed in order to support initiatives like this outside, externally. For example, a very good example is over the holiday, the summer holiday we call it, that's during July. I went to Diani, and in Diani, I set up a workshop over there. We trained the people there how to use the machines, and we have now a workshop running autonomously in Diani. Now we're working with people in Mathare and different community startups who are approaching us and wondering how they can build the machines. And we as students go there, we train them, we work together with them, we're bringing together the school and the local community, but we're also empowering them for something more. Thank you.
I'm so sad. Like, I just want to sob, go home and cry. Because it's the end of the show. I don't know why all good things must come to an end. They don't. They have to continue. What if we could be just hosting Youngstars for the rest of our lives? Like, seriously. Anyways, you can tune in every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. only on KTN Home. I'm your host, Kenya, and I hope to see you next time. Also, make sure to go follow my social media handle at Shiro_Gakenya. Shiro, C-I-I-R-U, Gakenya, G-A-K-E-N-I-A. I repeat, C-I-I-R-U_G-A-K-E-N-I-A. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!